WD18, the Watford fans channel here for some match reaction after tonight's game. Final score at Vicarage Road. It's finished Watford 1, Barnsley 0. A massive 3 points for Watford tonight. In a game that I thought was actually pretty crucial coming into it. Of course, having to build on the game on Saturday, the 2-0 win that we had against Huddersfield on Saturday. I felt as though a win was really important. I think it's one of those things as we move throughout this season. I think it's almost the sort of key to promotion in some respects. It's the whole win your home games and draw your away games where possible. And we're keeping up our fantastic record. I think we've actually got the best record in the Championship at home. Well, one of the best anyway. And we kept that up today. Now up to third in the table, which is absolutely fantastic for Watford as well, on 43 points now as well. Let's go through the game, as we always do. Starting off, of course, with that starting 11. Today, a 4-4-2 formation picked by the mighty Cisco Munoz tonight. A few changes as well, potentially from that team that did start, that of course did start the game. No Chalobah tonight, he was put on the bench, and Will Hughes did start the game. You also had Troy Deeney and Andre Gray up top as well. Specifically, of course, the big change there being Andre coming in for João Pedro, which I think did shock quite a few people, in all fairness. But listen, it's all about game management. It's all about player management, I think, as well. I think that's kind of the reason as to why potentially João was dropped. Of course, he did make an appearance in the second half, but I feel like João will probably come on and may potentially be in line for a start against Stoke City. The game kind of started off relatively well. I thought we actually started off the game okay-ish. Barnsley having, of course, a lot of that early possession. They're a very dangerous side under Valérien Ismaël, and I thought they'd actually play a lot better tonight than I thought. Sorry, I thought they'd actually play a lot better than what I saw. I didn't really see a particularly convincing performance from them at the end of the game. Actually, tonight they didn't have a single shot on target. And that's real credit to our defensive line, in particular tonight. I want to give a huge shout out to Kiko Femenia before we go any further, just in case I do genuinely forget to do so, because he's been absolutely magnificent for us. I know the last few of these match reactions, I've been calling out a lot of our defenders. I've been giving them a lot of praise. Rialto's been on the receiving end of a lot of praise, but Kiko Femenia for me has been absolutely first class. His commitment to the cause, his attitude, he's got his head down. He wanted to move away in the summer, but that didn't happen. That hasn't affected him. He's got his head down. He's worked. He's one of the players. I think him, and I think maybe about 3 or 4 other players are the only players I think in this team right now that actually really genuinely care about the football club. Kiko is absolutely one of those players. You know, he missed the birth of his child to play in that drab 0-0 game against Nottingham Forest. That's a huge amount of commitment. He was solid tonight, really, really solid. And to play the number of games that he has done, he's not actually had a rest. Yeah, I'm not sure if that will come soon. I kind of hope it doesn't, because we need him in that right back position. He's absolutely bossing it. So massive shout out to you, Kiko. You've done a brilliant job. On top of that as well, I thought actually kind of going forward today, we look maybe slightly better than what we have done. I thought Troy and Andre up front, they worked relatively well together. Of course, it was the skipper that opened the scoring, with the only goal of the game. A cross coming in from him, handled by a Barnsley defender. Troy steps up, straight down the middle. Fair play to the Barnsley keeper, who actually did stand his ground, but the power was just overwhelming on that penalty, and Troy scored to make it 1-0. I thought overall, actually, Troy had a better game today, getting and working that space quite well, pressing relatively well, trying to find the right kind of passes, trying to move us forward. I thought he was more of a hindrance, on Saturday, but I thought he actually kind of bounced back pretty well today. And ultimately, look, he's the match winner, and no matter how they go in, no matter how they're struck, it's a goal, and it's 3 points for Watford, and I'm not sure he can have very many complaints. I'm not sure we can have very many complaints about it either. On the flip side to that, of course, he was playing alongside Andre Gray today, and it was another really quite frustrating game for him. He should have scored in that first half. Sarr running down the right-hand side. Gray, you could see him in the centre of the screen, running, sprinting down the middle of the pitch to get there. He got there, and he's not even got the shot on target. It's a pretty awful miss, actually. I think I've not actually had the chance to actually fully watch it back. I watched it live, but it's one of those things whereby he's got to be hitting the target. He's got to be scoring that for me. And it's one of those things, and I know the lads spoke about it in the preview as well. Their thoughts on Andre Gray and all that, and I think we've gone past the point with him now whereby it's a confidence issue. I don't think it's not a confidence issue. I just don't think he's good enough. I just think I need to come out and say it, because I want it to work out for him. More than anything else, I want it to really work out for him. I want him to prove us all wrong. I want him to prove me wrong, actually. And it's no fun sitting here saying that it's not working out for him, despite what people may or may not think. It's not fun. And his performances have been really, really worrying, actually, because, despite the fact that Troy scored today, and it's great to see us score today. It was fantastic to see Troy get on the score sheet. I'm a big fan of Troy, as you all know, but the fact that we never looked threatening in open play, we never looked like scoring a goal from open play, that's still a bit of a worry, given how many opportunities we had to kind of move the ball forward in the first half, I thought, in particular. But ultimately, look, we went in 1-0 up and kind of pushed on in the second half. Troy making way midway through. Philip Zinkernagel coming on. I thought Zinkernagel sizzled, as he did against Man United. I thought he put in another solid shift today. Him and Sarr were the two standouts for me. If I had to give a man of the match, I'd probably give it to Ismaila Sarr, because I just thought he was bombing on down that right-hand side, getting the ball into the area. He was unlucky, I think, on a few occasions as well. The fact that there wasn't really anyone on the end of it. But I thought Sarr did really well today, and I thought our midfield in the second half, I think in particular, and looking at Chalobah, looking at Hughes in particular when he came on, absolutely bossed it in the middle of the park. Now, aside from what I've already mentioned, there wasn't too much else that actually happened in the game. There was a big chance for Trusticon towards the end, and which I thought he should have done better with. And we'll also say on behalf of the Nigerian that I thought he played very well today, and better performance, I think, than the one that he put in against Huddersfield. And as I've already spoken about, the back line as a whole, I thought were relatively solid today, except for one small moment, very small moment of madness, the slight little blot on the CV of Francisco Sirialta. A ball came in midway to 70 minutes or so through that second half, and heading it towards Daniel Bachmann, and Bachmann pulled off an absolute super save to prevent the own goal. Just a slight rush of blood, maybe little small lapse in concentration there from Sirialta, but listen, Bachmann pulled off a fantastic save, and it's the only save he actually had to pull off all game. There were no shots on target. Bachmann, again, with Ben Foster being out with, I think it's a chipped tendon in his hand, which sounds incredibly painful. It's going to give Daniel Bachmann a big chance to kind of push on for a few weeks. I think that's how the kind of not been given a full duration as to how long Ben Foster will be out for, but it'll give Bachmann a big chance to capitalise on the injury to Ben, and actually, really kind of go full pelt in his quest for first team football. And I just want to take the opportunity as well to wish Ben the very, very speediest of recoveries as well. That doesn't sound like a very nice injury to have, so hope all goes well with that. Hope all goes well with the recovery as well. But Bachmann, as I've said, another very quiet night for him. And you're hoping that will potentially change. Well, I kind of hope it doesn't change. But in the next couple of matches, of course, moving on to Friday night, the games come thick and fast, even more so in this craziest of all seasons. On Friday night, we visit the Bet365 to take on Stoke City. In a game that's going to be incredibly tough for us. It's going to be a typical Championship feisty battle, picked for live TV as well. Stoke, actually, the last time I checked, were drawing 3-3 in their game tonight against Rotherham. They've got a very steely team, never kind of, almost like a never say die kind of attitude, and I know for a fact we have actually struggled against Stoke. The last win I remember there being at was that 2-0 win back in the 15-16 season, Troy getting his first Premier League goal in that game, Alman Abdi getting on the score sheet as well. Aside from that, there have been some miserable trips to the Potteries, and our away form this season isn't anything to really write home about. So I am nervous for that game, actually. I am nervous for the Friday night game. There's a lot of comfort playing at the Vic, and I think I definitely felt that tonight. Whilst Barnsley, we were all aware of the threats that Barnsley posed, and more than aware of how Valerian Ismail was going to set out his stall and set out his team tonight. As the game went on, I never really felt under that much of a threat from them, really, and I think that was just kind of like the solid point to kind of make about Barnsley. It's going to be a different game against Stoke. Tough team. Michael O'Neill's done a brilliant job there, and I think in regards to team selection, I think there'll be a lot more player management for that game. I expect someone like João Pedro to start the game. I expect Zinchenko to start as well. I'd like to see Zinchenko start the game. I think in particular, maybe start him on the right, switch Star out to the left. Sema, whilst he's done well this season, I think he's in desperate need of a rest. Up front, I think João Pedro does deserve another start. I think Troy does deserve a start. I personally actually wouldn't have played Troy tonight. I actually would have rested him. I'd have put him in for the Stoke game. I think it'd be more his kind of game, kind of getting at those Stoke defenders. I thought, as I said earlier on in the match reaction, I thought Troy's hold-up play was brilliant today. It's going to be really needed against a very physical Stoke City side. And elsewhere, of course, it'd be nice to see the likes of Kiko start another game. It'd be nice to see Serial to start another game. But of course, I'm sure in the back of Xisco's mind is very much a game management, a player management elements of things as well. As I've already mentioned, it's Friday night against Stoke, and then we don't play again until three days later, and we're up against Millwall away from home. This is a mad season, but Watford are doing what is required of them right now, winning our home games. We're third in the table. We're putting the pressure on with the results going our way on the most part this evening. Let's see what happens. Of course, it'll be a tough game, no doubt about that. But if we're able to get the win, that'll put us in brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Let me just finish that off. It'll put us in a brilliant position in the table. Of course, with it being an FA Cup weekend, a lot of the teams inside that top six actually not playing. I think the only team that are playing off the top of my head are Reading. And Middlesbrough as well, who I think are just outside. So it's a big weekend for us to capitalise. I hope we do so. And ultimately, Xisco, I will actually end on this point today. I was really impressed with Xisco's substitutes throughout the game. He's looking to get a bit more of a handle on things now. Things are starting to maybe settle down for him. It was also great to watch the game and hear his assistants barking instructions like mad. And yeah, I'm actually quite satisfied with tonight's performance. It would have been nice to have seen a few more goals today. There's no doubt about it. But 3 points and the win is all that matters. And the promotion charge for Watford carried on, really. And I'm going to leave that there for tonight. Thank you very much for watching. I will be back on Friday night for another one of these reactions. Like I keep saying, let's hope I'm celebrating and talking about another win. Come on, you Orns.